Food waste has become a global problem, and according to the United Nations, 70% of food available to consumers is wasted. After a group discussion, we decided to use the school canteen as a base to investigate the issue of food waste in our school. This diagram shows the flow and division of labor of our group. We started with a questionnaire and interviews to investigate the perceptions of our students about food waste in schools, and also ask people within the school canteen about the weekly food waste in canteen. To ensure diversity, we asked one of the group members' cousins who is in high school in the USA, and a Canadian and Russian about the weight of food waste produced in the school canteen in their respective countries each week, and analyzed and understood the data given by the United Nations as a reference for the survey.
Firstly, the questionnaires were distributed to the students in our year, and the following results were obtained. Questionnaires that did not answer yes to question 1 were discarded. For question 2, the approximate weight of food waste per day as perceived by students, all estimates were higher than the actual value, except for one person who said he was unable to answer. The median was 120 kilograms, which was about 3 times the actual figure. This reflects the students' lack of concept of waste consumption. For question 3, students perceived average level of waste for themselves and their immediate peers compared to the global average, scored on a scale of 1 to 10. The mode was 7, and the remaining answers were evenly distributed between 1 to 6, slightly higher than the UN figure, which is 0.2 kilograms per person. Students may have been influenced by the demand characteristic to fill in the numbers larger. For question 4, how much do you think the food is worth in RMB? The extreme difference was close to 1 billion RMB, with the true figure between around 2,000 RMB. This reflects the students' complete lack of concept of the cost of food. For question 5, how concerned students were about food waste? The mean value was 6.25, reflecting their belief that most people have an extremely low level of concern about food. We also interviewed 2 students about their perceptions of food waste.
你平时就是对于学校的餐食，你有什么评价吗？
我觉得应该算比较好吃的吧，因为比以前学校的稍微要丰盛一点，然后荤素搭配也很营养，然后同学们都很爱吃。
他不爱吃，他会把食物直接倒进那个垃圾桶里。
有，因为每天的餐食都是不一样的，然后可能今天吃烤鸡，明天吃烤鱼，但是有一些同学会因为过敏或者说他们不爱吃，就把所有的吃的都直接倒掉，或者说看都不看一眼直接倒掉，刚拿到就倒掉。
好的好的。然后第二个问题是，你认为就是你有没有浪费太多食物啊？
相对于很多我爱吃的菜，基本上我就是全部会吃完，会空盘，不会去倒掉。但是有很多过敏或者不爱吃食物啊，类似于青椒、红椒什么的，我基本上会把所有的都倒掉。但是基本上没有什么太多浪费行为。
好的好的。个人就是说，你觉得他们可以怎么样改进，就是去节省一些食物？
我认为他们可以把不喜欢吃的食物分给同学去吃一点吧。比如说，有些同学对鸡蛋过敏，那他就可以把鸡蛋给那些爱吃鸡蛋的同学，或者说我们学校有点餐，我们就可以点一些自己更爱吃一点的嘛。但是如果没办法，可以分给自己需要的同学。餐厅可以把更多像商场里面的餐厅，它可以把食物的价位定高一点，这样的话人们可能会觉得自己赚来之不易的钱去买那些食物，他们可以更节省一些食物。还有就是政府也可以倡导教育局下指令让学校叮嘱学生不要浪费食物。比如说我们可以设立每个学校可以设立2到3个管理员，去站在到餐口，我们看同学有没有浪费食物的可能性，或者说尽量减少他们浪费食物。
好的好的，谢谢同学，谢谢。
你是否认为国家政府对此问题的关注不足？你是否认为大众对此问题的关注不足？你认为这种现象产生的原因是什么呢？
其实我觉得在食物浪费这方面的话，其实大家心里多多少少是有一些清楚的。就是虽然就是在我身边我没有看到，但是我其实像刚才来自新闻一些消息，我也知道每天有好几万吨的食物被浪费掉。其实这些 非常骇人听闻的数字，确实是会对自己有一些震撼。然后，我觉得国家在这方面的影响的话，因为国家也在推崇就是光盘行动，对，但是其实我觉得这种事情应该更加的化作为实际一些，而不是我们为。
As this student did not want to show his face, we chose the camera angle after discussing and coordinating with him to protect his privacy. After this, we conducted a survey of the school canteen, and these are the pictures we took during the survey. This is the data from our survey. This is our data table. We counted the kilograms of food waste per day in the canteen from February the 10th to March the 3rd in 2023 and calculated the average weight of food wasted per person per day based on the number of students in the school. The average was 33.36 kilograms. This graph shows the average daily kilograms wasted by students during the time period surveyed. We saw small daily fluctuations and a mean value of 0.15 kilograms less than the UN figure. This shows that the waste situation in the school canteen is not as serious as the students believe.
Next is feedback from an American high school student about the food waste situation in their school cafeteria. This picture shows the response given by the aunt of one of the group members after asking the group's cousin. The group member's cousin responded that there are 5,000 people in his school, 3,000 of whom choose to eat at school, and that the school produces approximately 500 pounds, or 226.8 kilograms of food waste per week, which is an average of 0.0000756 tons of food per person per week. This is a recorded interview with a Canadian who attended UT. Okay, hi Anna.
Hello.
Yeah, so can you tell me something about like the food waste in your university?
Sure. So when I was a student in my university, I don't think there's too much food waste. One of the reason being the students are not financially independent at that time, so we ordered the amount of food that we needed. So even when we have parties or we're sharing food, we normally will count how many people are there, how much food we need. So we're trying to finish everything. So I don't think there's a big problem about food waste.
So actually in the foreign countries, you don't have the canteen, like the big canteen in China. It's like the traditional Chinese kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I think it's quite a unique thing for Chinese to have one or two big canteens. Then you just order the different combination A, B, C, D, E, or like 1, 2, 3, or 5. But when I was in my university, there's like little shops, little restaurants. So you decide what you want to eat that day.
So do you prefer that if we have the like more choice and there will be less food waste?
Yes, I absolutely agree. Because I think one of the reason wasting food is because maybe I'm not liking the food that day. And how to solve that problem? If I like what I eat, I am mostly likely to finish all of them or most of them.
Okay. In this audio, it talks about how giving students open options as UT does can be effective in reducing food waste. Due to UT's lack of disclosure of food waste information on campus, we searched for UN data on food waste in Canada, and they waste about 50 million tons of food per year, which works out to about 0.036 tons per person per day, or 0.252 tons of food per week. Finally, we asked a Russian about food waste in his country's schools. So, what do you think about like the food waste in Russia?
Oh, to be honest, when I was young, when I was staying in Russia and studying in school and university, in my family, we didn't have a problem, and it's very hard to get. Right, if you get the food, you have to save it. Secondly, it's about culture. Also in Christianity or in Muslim culture, religion, the bread is it's a kind of part of part of religion. We cannot leave bread outside. If bread outside on the ground, we have to pick it up and put it on the table, right? And Moscow is problem, I know, but in my life, in my university, when I was young, it's never happened before. Just me, I don't remember even, right? Yeah.
So, do you think that people around you, when you are in the university, they waste food?
I didn't see what people waste food. Sometimes, of course, somebody, not everyone, but somebody maybe waste food, and other person maybe come to him or her and make attention, right, and tell some notches you don't need to do that. Yeah, and that will be like strict. People will talk to each other, or older people will talk to you. It's not correct. It's not polite. It's unrespect.
So, can you give me some suggestion that you think it will be possible to do this?
Yeah, I think it's just everyone in family have to put some rules, right, and teach your kids.
From the audio, we learned that Russian culture and beliefs can condemn food waste in the country, and that at his university, his classmates reminded each other to avoid food waste as much as possible. He also believes that having rules about food waste would help to reduce it. For privacy reasons, we have chosen to use UN data. On average, 6 million tons of food are wasted in Russia each year, with an average of 0.0003 tons per person per day and 0.002 tons per week.
This is a data analysis on the food waste situation in each country surveyed by our group. The first graph shows a bar chart of the average tons of food waste wasted per week by nationals of each country, and the second shows this data in tabular form. Overall, Canada has the highest level of food waste, followed by China, followed by the United States, and finally Russia. As we found that the food waste in the U.S. school we survived was not significant enough to constitute a reference when producing the data, we then chose to use the per capita data for the U.S. as a country as whole to represent the data. To ensure consistency, we also compared the data from Chinese school with the overall per capita data for China and found that the data we obtained was similar to the data we collected through our school survey. The school data was chosen as the reference. The polarization is more severe and even exceeds the number of tons of food waste per capita per week in the cafeterias of the Adcote campus in SuZhou, China, and the average number of tons of food waste per week by the US and Russian nationals as a whole. From our interview with that Russian, it is clear that their country does not present a serious food waste situation as they are bound by their own religion's condemnation of food waste practices. The mean value is 0.12100189, which is approximately 0.12. The figures for Canada and China are above the mean, while the rest of the figures are below the mean. This shows that food waste is relatively high in Canada and China, with Russia having the lower level of food waste among their countries. The first reason for the high level of food waste in China is the separate of mechanized harvesting, where crops can be missed due to their conditions such as insufficient moisture or fragility. Dining habits often lead to people buying excessive amounts of food. At the end of the party, the uneaten food is disposed of as rubbish, leading to waste. One standard deviation ranges between including but not equal to 0.02 and 0.22, with all data except for China and the USA falling outside this range.
In the process, we gained a deeper understanding of food waste in different countries, as well as our own understanding and ideas about teamwork. The benefits of this group work not only gave us academic exercise, but we also developed our interpersonal and coordination skills. In summary, Canada has the worst food waste situation, which has a lot to do with the new crime epidemic and the lifestyle of the people, the word of China, the way food is produced, and the culture of the country leads to a higher level of food waste. The United States tend to be closer to the overall average, while Russia is bounded by religion and wastes a smaller amount of food.